Welcome to the Molybdenum Software Show, our special, if only by number, 50th episode. Jeremy is excited to hopefully work on something and achieve some goal, but if we take a look at our actions here,
What? Uh-oh. All right, what's up?
This is a result of me pushing whatever it is I pushed, and it did Nixflake check on my machine, so this might be a GitHub specific issue. Here it says it exceeded the maximum execution time of 6 hours. So it's obviously not like some build problem.
Oh, is
At
this
the end
Magic
here,
Nick's
we see
cache
these.
getting... This is Magic Nick's cache going away, and it spent 6 hours trying to upload to the cache, huh? That makes sense, right? Because that
Been going
post-build
away
phase...
for a long time,
yeah.
and still working. So what?
Yep.
Now it's the end of it? What?
I guess maybe it's finally... They're finally done. Or maybe it's still in like some brownout phase. Because that's what GitHub, or somebody, said. It was going to be like browned out. So I think easiest thing to do is just delete that, and our builds will take longer. We're already doing CI locally anyways, so it's just releases will take an extra however many minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Or we go down the path of like setting up caches or something like caches.
Yes, there's Cachix and there is Garnix.
Okay, I've heard of that. I have very little experience with caches and no experience with Garnix.
I think out of respect for GitHub, we should do at least have a reasonable attempt at caching. Although I don't know how much difference it actually makes. Every time we make a most of the stuff that we use is cached from
Right.
cache.nexus.org.
And then do we usually touch Rust code? And if we usually touch Rust code, I mean, I guess if the cargo.lock isn't changing, we're not rebuilding all the depths.
That's right.
But I don't care about respecting GitHub. Like the Determinate Nix folks tried to work with GitHub, and GitHub didn't care, right? So I don't care about doing more work out of respect for them.
Right. GitHub are kind of, I guess, if GitHub cared about, and if maybe they will start caring.
Sure.
Maybe all these workloads will start increasing and they will take a look at it and they will see, these are all Nix.
Yeah.
And maybe they will, okay, well.
That's easy. It's satisfying when fixing something is just deleting some stuff, right? So you don't get to do that every day.
Yeah.
And we do have
I'm
an
just,
issue that we get to mark done as well
huh? Issue? What
about
issue?
Magic Nix cache. It's in our backlog.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. So just deleting this.
I think so. And I don't know if we have that in multiple places. Beautiful. Oh, we got rid of pipe operators, didn't we? That's funny.
Did we? Oh, huh. Well, I do remember that we were using. Also, what is accept? There's accept flake config, which can be used instead of this, but it's totally unrelated. So I'm going to just, let's see. I don't think there's a release, so I'll just add.
We agreed to get rid of it because people using our flake are affected by our choice to use it.
Yeah. Because like this build or see, I don't remember. Conventional. Go type. Build. CI. This CI. I think CI is like CI.
Oh.
RAM magic mix dash.
Do you want to mark that as closes issue number, whatever? Issue number 237. Looks good. Sweet.
Rotate.
All right. Share screen, entire screen. Here we go. Right. GH issue list. Just let you filter on milestone. Nice. But I don't know what milestones we have, so I guess I'll just list. The thing we're working on is
Can I have a little more volume from you? Like 30% more?
Let's see where I'm at. Low. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Sure thing. Something about docs, right? Do we not have a unified module for Nixos module and programs themselves? Is this the thing? Just
Unified
got the word
docs.
module? Is it just like a typo in the title?
Mm-hmm. Seems like it.
But docs. Okay.
Manual. Maybe that's why the typo is manual.
Sounds great. All right. And we have, you landed the change we were working on last time, right? We now have Nix as sort of the source of truth for our docs, but we're still using cargo to generate docs for the environment variables. Today, we're going to change that, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's do it. Gipl gco-b, and I'll call this is like remove API and fetcher crates.
Not yet. They cannot be removed until we have docs that are building.
Okay, so you want to do that as two separate steps? Move the docs into Markdown book and then delete the crates?
Yes.
Okay, works for me. Great. MD book, docs for and
single
fires.
Single manual, unified manual.
Okay. Great. All right. Book.
Perhaps we could start right from there, from where we use MD book.
Mm-hmm.
The summary file could be expanded. Yep.
So we learned about this. We can have lists.
We have two programs.
Mm-hmm.
We have the fetcher and we have the API. Perhaps they could be nested under. This would make them. This would make them prelude chapters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't remember the word.
I think we want now everything to be a list. Options is only yeah.
Okay, this is more like Nixos options.
Nixos options, yes. I think we can break the link. I don't think it's a problem at this point.
You want to call it Nixos-options? That?
Nixos options, yes. Sounds okay.
Okay. There we go.
Or maybe just Nixos.
Yeah. I could even call it Nixos module. It's like the options are detail. But your call.
I will go for just Nixos.
Yeah.
And I think the API and fetcher could be nested under
programs, architecture,
some kind of a grouping. Like programs.
I mean, I kind of like mine seeing a page like this when I am adopting a new piece of the software, or something that explains to me at a high level what the pieces are.
We have one. It's in the README.
Oh, remind me what that looks like. Yep. Yeah. So, I mean, we can call it programs, we can call it architecture. What do you prefer?
I think we like if we take it step by step, we could call this programs, and then the only content that we will be that this will have in this change. This is not even a page. I would say it's just a grouping. Is that possible in MDBook? Some sort of a grouping.
It's probably like a weird UI experience, right? It's like some grayed out thing that you can't click on.
That's fine. I'm suggesting that it's grouped, just grouped, so that you see these are the programs. And in
No, I
these,
understand.
each of these programs will API all caps.
Okay.
And each of these pages will, at this stage, in this change, will have merely what is will be transferred from the Rust doc. That's it. It's a minimal change, and later we can work on improving the. But this is a minimal change, just to unify.
That's fine. Totally fine. API MD equals, and then this is going to be a assert false for now. Then fetcher MD, and we link these things in, which is API MD.
It's perhaps a better habit you could have instead of assert false is to throw a string.
Oh,
that's
sure.
like shorter expression, and you could have a string.
I like that. Thank you. Okay.
Welcome.
Great. Okay. Awesome. Still compiling.
There's also
oh my God.
a lesser used function called abort.
I don't know it. Is that a built-in?
It cannot be caught.
Okay.
Let's try it.
Well, let me get a mob branch going because I realized I didn't -- create -- pop. Okay. What? Abort? Takes no string? Just something like that?
I don't know. Does it take a string? I would have expected to take a string, but maybe it doesn't.
Yeah, I have no idea. Or, yeah. Yep, takes a string.
Yep.
Love it.
Cool.
Yogi. So, okay, the actual code we're going to write here is going to be something like, do we actually have access to the thing we need? I can't even remember. So if we go to API
yes, module
default,
args.
Environment variables, wonderful. Okay, so let's get this stuff side by side. This is gonna take, and this is not a per system, right? It's a top level. Yes, it is. Okay. This is gonna be API and fetcher.
I think what we need here is like this is how the dendritic pattern is suggests that that option merging is used. It will be used in the what is it the Nix. It won't be called NixOS manual. It'll be called just manual file.
Sure.
Will be an option defined. It's called something like pages.
Yeah, we could do that. I do feel like pages is probably not quite the right layer of abstraction if we want structure to this thing, right?
Yes, and a page would also include some way of or ordering, like some structures like that will be allow us to generate this, maybe like a path, right?
Yeah.
Like what's it in?
So I see what you're saying. I don't feel like it's worth doing. That like feels to me like the sort of thing that's a cool idea, but is like a cool idea worth doing as part of a like standalone project.
Mm.
Like, I
Like
mean, I'm down to do it
a
if you want to, but it's just like there's two things here and we're not planning to add a third.
is it okay if I want to?
It's fine. Yeah, like if you just want to do it because it like feels like the fun way to do it, I'm on board. But it just doesn't feel like two is not the breaking point for me here. It's got to be like 5 or 10 or something like. But if you just want to do it, like that's totally fine. I'm just like trying to figure out, is this like something you want to do or something you feel like we have to do? Because I don't feel like it's something we have to do.
I'm motivated to do this because I want to gain experience in the field of documentation across documentation using option merging.
Yeah.
I am motivated to follow the dendritic pattern that I have termed
Mm-hmm.
as such.
Okay.
I want to have clean code, and it's more enjoyable for me
All right. Let's do it.
to do it this way.
Okay. So we'll create a config section, options and config section here.
I would start from the usage. Oh, and options in a config section. Um.
But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, we can just pretend that the config exists. And then there's going to be some like loop and link. And then there's going to be some sort of like more nuanced thingy here. This code's going to be a little tricky, I think. Maybe not. Maybe merging will do this for us. But like this code is going to end up looking something like recursing through a deep attribute set. And for each thing we find, generating either a leaf node or a like intermediate node and tracking our like indentation depth as we go.
I think it's a nested list. It's a list of lists. It's an infinitely nested list. And
Sure. Okay.
some nodes are lists, other nodes are nodes, and nodes, leaf nodes.
So okay, let's start with that conversion. Like let's write the let data equal in, and we won't even use data yet. Let's just define what this thing is.
I don't think we need a binding. I think I tend to like start with a pipe.
Okay. I just want to
and
make
then
sure we agree on what the data structure is, and I can change it to a pipe in a moment.
Oh, the data. Okay,
Yeah.
the input for this. I got you.
Which is like ultimately going to come from some module value,
Got
right?
you.
Like some module option
We're doing
thingy.
fake data.
Yeah. Right. Like we can write
So it's a
we can write
list.
the juicy logic first, and then we can do the like module system stuff after. I'm trying to get to the interesting problem first.
So the first item is this NixOS.
Yeah. So how would you want to represent this? Like an adder set? that's like,
Yes,
name,
I think it's a
label
title,
and
title
title.
and slug.
This is
Does that
like,
make sense?
yeah,
Slug or
it's more than yeah, slug, I guess, to me, slug is not like a real file, and this is a real. I mean, slug can be a real file,
assuming
I
they're all
suppose.
markdown, then this would be literally Nixos.
Oh,
So what's the?
I see
This is
what you're
maybe
saying.
file name,
Yeah, I slightly
base
prefer
name
file name, which would be nixos.md. What I like about this is it would allow us, without a change to API, it would allow us to structure things deeper in the future if we wanted to.
without a change to API.
Like, without a change to this data structure, if we call this slug, I mean, I
How
guess you
about
can do it
yeah?
that way. So
In
never mind.
I would, because since this is all private and this is all answering just the needs. On one hand, I'm trying to do it like properly. On the other hand, I'm not trying to build something public. Does that make sense?
I don't
That's my
think there's
attitude here.
really an answer to what's proper here. I think either is a reasonable approach.
Proper in the sense that it's like dendritic. That the page for each thing will come from its own file, and this
Sure.
here will not have any specific concern.
Well, okay, but I'm
That's
just
all I
saying, like,
mean.
we need to decide between one of these two things.
I don't see. So I don't think it'll have any any slashes in it. I don't think it's a file path. I think it's a base name because the structure is the
You
nesting
are
of the
right to.
lists creates a structure.
Oh, I don't know that you're right about that. That's an MD book question. And maybe we both just don't have enough MD book knowledge. Are you sure? Or, like,
I'm
are
not.
you okay with me
I'm
checking
not.
this?
I'm not saying anything that has implications on MD book.
What I'm talking about is we're, this thing.
Uh huh.
Like, these things can be
The
nested.
actual file path will be we will generate it. That's implementation detail. The data coming in does not concern itself with file paths. Does that make sense? Even the fact that we have just a title, we could. My screen locked.
Okay. All right, I got it. I see what you're saying. So you're saying you want to deduce the structure based on this sort of like, okay. All right, let's give it a go.
Mm-hmm.
So this right here is going to be a thing that has a title,
List. Oh, you're
programs,
right. It has a
and then
title.
it's going to have children equals an array,
Yeah.
something like that, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then now we're dealing with.
Whoops. Jeremy disappeared.
Ow. So I had that build going in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Does it take more than 32 gigs of RAM to run Nix like check against our repo now?
Does it?
I don't know what happened. What's that? My frozen screen was reading 96% memory usage. So, and computer was presumably swapping and unusable.
Maybe it was. Remember, you're doing local recording. By the way, I wonder what happened to that.
That definitely got lost because I had to kill my computer. Sorry.
But that. What?
Oh yeah, well, but it probably gets persisted to disk. Sorry. Yep.
Yeah.
So maybe it's there. Um, I can take control again, or if you want to drive, whatever.
I think rotation is healthy,
Take it over.
but did Did you save your file?
I mean, whatever was on disk, I just mob nexted. So we'll see.
Okay,
We'll see what you've got.
cool. I wonder if I can, since switching to Hyperland, I have a different picker for screen sharing. Oops, I just shared the wrong screen. Fortunately, my inbox is 0.
So clean.
Isn't that nice? I won't even mark this, but I have to stop sharing. I'm trying to understand how I share with the keyboard. I don't see any keyboard control here. Fine.
Bummer.
Throw this to the other screen. It's also throwing me to the other screen, but kind of. You know what's happening now?
What's up?
I have a focused window, the active window is not on the active workspace.
I don't think I know what a workspace is. Is that a Hyperland term?
Yes, but there's a similar, this basically, right? This one.
Oh, okay.
I can
like
do
a
3,
virtual
4,
desktop.
5.
That might even be the Xmonad term. Got it.
Yeah. So I threw my window to the other workspace,
Mm-hmm.
and my active workspace remained 1, but my active window was thrown out of the active workspace, and I'm like, what? Okay. This was in the NixOS manual, which I will go ahead and move. Why is it red? Why do I have red? Well, this is red. I know what it is.
I think we're in the middle of writing the data structure, so it's
Oh,
probably.
this becomes red on command.
Oh, okay.
Move modules. NixOS cannot do this. This completion does not work as well as in the shell. NixOS manual, modules, manual.
Okay.
Delete this buffer. Manual. Manual.
And we'll need to import, fix the import path, right? Like Flake modules
Oh,
default.
I forgot we have imports. Is this sorted? No, it's not. Is it kind of sorted? Yes. Here.
Okay.
Children. That's wrong. Why? Title. API. Love. I want to call it base name. You want to call it base name?
Oof. Because the slug is actually going to have a path in it, so slug feels like the wrong word.
Yeah.
Sure. Could also derive it from the title, I suppose. It's just the lowercase version of the title in all these.
Well, right now it is, but if there are spaces, probably want to convert into something else, and I kind of don't want to do it at this point.
That's fine.
Uh, don't do that. No. It's my favorite thing, and it fails, huh?
It's hard for me to tell what's happening. I assume you're pressing enter and it's not doing what you
Enter.
want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then are we also going to embed the information about the files, like more than the base name?
Information. The content
The
itself.
content, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we're going to do that, then we don't even need base name, right?
What you mean?
Don't we? NixOS derivations have names? Is that not enough?
I see what you mean here.
Maybe that's
And you think this is going
weird.
to be a derivation?
Well, it's going to be like a write text or something, right?
Or maybe just a string?
If we want it to be a
What do
string,
you think?
we are handicapping our options a bit, right? Like we wouldn't be able to use uh, various tools. Like we talked about how
Uh-huh.
it might have been nice to be able to run like Rust FMT on a file, and so it was nice that it
Uh-huh.
wasn't a string and was instead a derivation. But maybe that doesn't apply here. Like I think you're right. These could be strings. I don't think we're planning to use any non-Nix tooling to generate this stuff.
Could easily change it if we want later to be a
Actually, wait, I take
derivation.
that back. No, we're
Hmm?
absolutely using non-Nix tooling, aren't we? Like, how are we generating nixos.md?
How are we generating nixos.md?
That's not a
Non.
purely Nix operation? There's Python code involved.
It,
We read that Python code 2 sessions ago.
right. You're right.
So I
So
take it
this
back.
is
It should
yeah,
definitely be a derivation. But whether it
the
makes sense
derivation.
to deduce the slug from the derivation, that's a conversation we should have. Just because
To
we could doesn't
deduce
mean
the
we
slug. So
should.
derivation looks something like this, but there is no way in Nix to know. Um, but at build time, you can tell what's inside the derivation. So you can, but this will have to be generated at build time as well. In that case,
I think I'm not following. What is the thing that there's no way to know? Can we play with that in a REPL?
what you're suggesting is the idea is to there's a derivation for each page, and that derivation is a single store path, presumably .md.
Right.
Um, if it's a directory with a single file, then it's like trivial at build time to see what the file in there, what the name is, and use that name. So for the building of the book, that'll be trivial, but like then we are outside of the Nix world. We can't do like easy functional
So,
programming.
sorry, I'm not following at all. I'm sorry. So,
Mm-hmm.
can you explain it to me in REPL terms? Like, this is the thing that I'm thinking of. Is like, you have a derivation, you
Mm-hmm.
can ask for its name. But
I
you're
see. But
saying, like,
there's
this doesn't work or something?
Well, there's no guarantee that the name has anything to do with the contents. When you're using write text, there is, but that's
Well, that's
just one way to
I guess
produce
that's
a
the
derivation.
contract I'm proposing, right? Is somebody who
Okay.
uses this has to, but that's the should we? We could, should we? That's a weird contract, so maybe we shouldn't do it. Like having an explicit name as an additional attribute maybe is like, the least surprising for ourselves and, other people reading this code.
I kind of want conflicting things because I want to generate the summary.md in Nix, but I want to do it based on the contents of the out path.
The contents of the out path.
Yeah. Imagine that each of these derivations, the contract is different. The contract is that it's a directory that has a single file.
Oh, so you can like stitch together the structure sort of using like a link farm sort of approach.
Link farm. I know what a link farm is, but this alludes to something that I'm not
Okay.
familiar.
Well, I think the first thing I say is there is no need, and in fact, we don't even have the summary as a Nix string, right? We have it as a file in the store. So we can absolutely process things however in the way that you're thinking of. I don't think I quite know what it is you want to do, but it's absolutely possible to do what you want without like IFD.
I'm saying if the contract is that each page is a derivation that is the outpath is a directory that has a single markdown file,
mm-hmm.
then that's not known at eval time. So
And we don't
if we
need to
wanted
know it
to,
at eval time, is what I'm trying to say.
right, but I'm saying that the conflict is that I kind of do want to need it because I want to generate the summary MD in Nix.
Why?
Because it's functional, easy programming. Otherwise, I'm going to have to write some other code
Okay,
that generates it at build time.
sure. But that's like, we're coders. We love programming languages. A little Python here, a little Bash there, a little Nix there. That doesn't
And
bother me.
yet, I think we are motivated to do more at eval time.
I
Does that make
actually
sense?
much prefer
Hmm?
writing Python to Nix, so I disagree with that statement. Especially for these sort of like manipulation thingies of like a little stuff in the file system and a little like parsing of something. Like I find that much easier and faster to write in Python. So that doesn't bother me.
You know, Nix has these things called outpaths. Familiar with that? More
Mm-hmm.
like not default outpaths. I think that but multiple outpaths.
And you can have multi-output derivations. I'm familiar with them. I'm not an expert in them. I don't think I've ever written one.
I've never written one. I'm thinking, but that's like thinking maybe we could use the out path, like a named out path, but still, it's what's the difference between having such a contract and a contract where the name of the derivation is expected to be the same as the single file that it's inside of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that there's a difference.
Yeah. So I think this is an interesting design space to explore. I think that it is a design space that, like you said, this is all internal private stuff. So we don't have to agonize over this any more than we find interesting. So,
I
and we
I
can
find
change
it
our minds.
interesting.
So
I
what
agree.
I would be interested in is, after we do this and get a little familiarity with the problem space, an interesting hypothetical future project would be to take this pattern and create a flake parts library for this, right? Like for generating documentation for your next projects.
Yes.
And I think that would
Yes.
be
I
a nice
think
project.
we were told by Valentin Frickler Handwerk that he made one.
Okay.
Did you hear that? He
I
told
mean, I'm
me.
aware of his like Nix to HTML thing,
Right.
which has, like I told you, one of the more amusing readmes that I've ever seen on a project.
Hmm.
It's just like,
I've,
I did it because I had to. Was sort of like the readme he wrote. Right, I heard the mob thing. I'll rotate over to you. Yeah, so I am aware that, like, Valentin is an opinionated person who has done a lot of thinking about this, and I'm not proposing that we actually work on extracting this right now or anything, but we did explore the existing use of Markdown Book in two different Nix projects, and they both seemed like things that would benefit from a nice flake parts module.
yes, I agree. Anyway, back to the
Yep.
work at hand.
So I'd say let's do title, base name, and DRV. And the contract is the DRV produces a file, not a directory.
Is there an alternative to this MD book feature where the like the summary MD? Is there a way that we don't have to provide the
I don't
summary
know. I'm like a little surprised because it would
MD?
not be complicated for you to just point it a little more convention, and you could just point it at a directory of markdown files, right? Just like,
There's the ordering,
right. That's what I mean
which
by a little more convention.
yeah.
It's the ordering and like the labels are the two things, right? Or the titles.
The summary is somewhat possibly easier to kind of pick up quickly rather than understand a set of
Yeah.
learn a set of conventions,
Right.
rules.
Yep.
Of course, there's this misfeature of, well, if you got something wrong in the summary, it'll just be created for you.
I don't know that that's a misfeature with the way that they intend you to use it, which is, I'm going to start writing a new page. I'm going to start by putting it in the summary,
Yeah.
and then my editor will see the new file, and I'll start editing the file.
Yeah.
But it's not like the way things should behave in CI, right? And maybe there's a knob to turn that off that we haven't found. Maybe it would even behave that way if there was, maybe they honored that CI environment variable. This somewhat conventional thing.
So in the summary, we need to know the file, some file names, right? I tell you what, I think I think these can, I think that the file names in the derivations don't matter. That's what I think. Because in the linking, this This will determine the file name for the summary.
Yep. Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what the derivation has, as long as the context of the derivation is a single file.
Right.
It's not a directory.
Totally. So that's what I was just proposing. Let's do three things: title, base name, and derivation.
And derivation.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's skip derivation for now, or like
No, let's make it work. Just say drv equals.
make it work.
Okay.
Okay.
We already have it. It's above.
It's above.
Just like scroll up. Options MD.
This is derivation.
Yeah.
There is no derivation for this.
Not yet. So this could be like a simple write text for now or something.
This.
I don't know. Looking at line 51 up above, I guess this takes an adder set with name and text. Love it. And give the fetcher the same treatment.
Nah. You know, if you have a selection and then you do big V.
Yep.
It does this.
Yep.
It's pretty good.
Awesome. Love it. Okay, and now we can write the next code.
So this data is the result of option merging.
That's the
We don't know
goal.
the option yet, and we don't know the merge logic.
Right. But we can write the next code that processes this data.
Yes. And we do believe that this is achievable using options and option merging.
Oh, I have no fucking clue.
I'm pretty sure.
I mean, it seems plausible.
Because it's arbitrary.
Like, do I know how to write that code? No. I believe that it's possible.
Okay, it needs to end up this way, right?
I guess I'll say it might not be achievable with just options and option merging, but like options and option merging can produce something that can be massaged into this structure, I bet.
Oh, it's arbitrary.
Okay.
Like,
I know you can write a merge rule, like a function that takes two things and returns a new thing or whatever.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying is like this might not be the most convenient intermediate data structure representation. Like it might be nicer to have like keys so that we're not like looping over things when merging.
You're a step ahead of me.
Let's stop talking about it because who knows what I'm talking about.
Who knows what we talk about?
All right. But I do think this is the right like final representation. And if we can't get it straight out of the module system, I still think this is the right thing to write to code against right now. So, all right. We want to recurse over this thing. What's the recursion? The recursion is given a list of things, produce a list of things. And if you see a list, then you call yourself again with a deeper indentation, right?
So let's start a pipe. Is it a pipe? It's not a pipe because it will be just a recursion.
I think there's so I'm gonna say render.
Going to start with a map.
Render mdlist is a function. I'm going to put this here that takes a data list, but I would love to have a better word for this. This is like
pages. These are pages.
Okay.
No.
Great. It takes a list of pages and an indent level.
Pages.
Indent, which
It's
starts.
Page. It's a page tree.
I like that better. Thank you. Page. Well,
Indent
it is.
level,
It's funny because it's like a list of thingies, but sure. Yeah. Page tree is a list. Okay. And then what we'll do is I'm just going to write the dumb incorrect implementation right now, which is lib.concat lines of map data. And the map here is going to be for page. We're going to produce a markdown list element, which just for now has page.title. So there's no recursion yet.
This will fail because no, they all have titles.
That's why I chose title, yeah, as opposed to base name, which does not always exist.
We don't even know that this is proper summary, but we'll find out soon.
Yes, we will. Definition is not used. That's fine. Expected let in. Let in. We have a let in expression. I don't understand.
After the in, there is nothing.
Oh, I see. Sure. Render md list, page tree equals data, and indent can just stay unset. Uh-oh. Page tree. Yes, to avoid that error, I will move this. Oh, sorry. Boom, P. It's there. Too many
Sorry,
semis.
what did you do?
I was trying to make it easier to see what I was doing, but I failed. Sorry. So I just got rid of the data variable. And now we're calling render md list with page tree. Sorry, that was unfollowable. All I did is I inlined this variable right here.
Leave it. I like it like this.
Okay. Great. Next build .hash manual. Oops. These are used here. Right. Okay. I don't want any of that yet. Can't comment these out, can I?
Delete them. It's fine. We have one summary MD.
Yep. Okay. There's an error parsing. Link items for nested chapters must only contain a hyperlink. What do they contain besides a hyperlink right now?
Programs is not a hyperlink.
Well, none of these are a hyperlink right now.
Oh. Oh.
Oh, duplicate file. Dang. Okay, fine. Two can play that game. There we go. I'm not sure that was an appropriate thing to say in that context, but okay.
If I was amused.
I guess it worked. Okay, that is not what I was trying to open. This is what I was trying to open. Here we go. Get over there. Love it, love it.
Why is it the menu open by default if such a wide screen?
It is now. Actually, remember? It does.
Remembers, yeah.
Is there like local storage on this thing?
Yeah, why not?
Uh,
Fancy. This is so popular, you know?
Jeez. Okay. Nixos and programs. That's not what I was expecting. Oh, yeah, because we're not recursing yet. So that made sense. Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Sorry, I
Well
don't.
done so
Let
far.
me do a mob t open so I can actually see what's going on. Okay, we got some time left. Love it. All right, so let's recurse down. So now we
That's
need
easy.
a if statement that says if you have a children attribute, then, and maybe we can do some destructuring here. Title, base name, and children.
But this doesn't have a base name.
Null.
That's not nice. Do a three. No.
What's not nice?
It's. I've never seen like something is not expected, so it's. I don't know. I never seen this. Like,
This feels like a pretty common pattern to me.
we can try.
Mob next.
I don't mind. We can try.
I mean, when I say common pattern, I don't mean in Nix because I haven't read enough Nix code, but I just mean like, I don't know,
Just
Python. It's probably what I'm thinking of. But I'm also fine with not doing it that way if you don't want to. Like,
I don't want to be like that. Base name is not necessarily existing,
right,
and
children,
um,
it is also not necessarily existing. We could probably set it to empty array to make the code a little simpler to implement. Actually, it probably is fine with null. We're going to have an if statement about recursing either way.
if
Well, I think we render the thing, and then there's a possible suffix, which is if there are children, we add a recursive thingy. So it's like plus lib dot. Can we do like a plus lib dot optional? Does that work?
there's the optional string.
Oh, lovely, love it. And then if children is not null, then we do the recursive call, render md list, or maybe oh shit, we want a
You
new
want
line character followed by the children, I guess.
yeah, something. Yeah, it's just a new line.
Or maybe it would be cleaner to produce just a nested array of lines, and then we do a flatten before we concat lines.
That would be cleaner.
Okay,
I support that.
let's do it. I'm a little astonished that made any sense. I'm glad it did.
Why? Does it not make sense?
No, it makes sense in my head. I just didn't know I conveyed it successfully with English.
This is like um
I think we don't have to do anything here. I think it would just be outside of the map. We flatten before concat lines.
well, if this has children,
Oh, shoot. Right. Sorry. Right. Got it. Okay. Yeah. Carry on.
if children not null, then, or is null. Then we have a string, right?
Sure. But I think you're probably right that the cleanest implementation is to just always make it an array.
I don't think so.
Okay.
We're mapping. This is not an array. This is an item. And then we flatten. Does that make sense?
I think there are multiple ways of doing this. So I'd say let's carry on with what you're doing. And then we can discuss if we feel there's a better way.
So this line, like markdown line list item, else, this is for no children.
This is for now we have children in the else block.
Mm-hmm.
So we want that line again, the indent.
We want a different line, because if there's children, there's not a link.
I don't think we should assume that. I don't know why we'd write that's probably a more complicated way to write the code, right?
Our data, this doesn't have a link.
I understand that it does not have a base name, but like, I think we should.
Did we find out that MDBook does not support that?
No, I mean, I guess we haven't checked, but like, I'm just saying, I think the simplest implementation would be to just handle base name being set or not, regardless of what type of node regardless of if the node has children.
Okay.
Maybe I guess okay. Now that I see where you're going, I understand how the implementation that you're going down is going to be not as complicated as I thought, because you're going to basically say in the if statement, we can assume there's a base name, and outside of the if statement, or in the else block, we can assume there is no base name. And so there's like a difference between the two. And I wasn't thinking about it that way, but
I'm trying to implement for what we have, not for anything we don't.
Yeah. I guess what I'm thinking is like the thing in my head might be the same number of lines or characters of code, but is slightly more generic. But it does not matter for the reason you just said. So
yeah, well, we will have dead code. We do that, and in public you can you test everything. You don't have dead code, but in private,
so I'm not thinking of this as having dead code. So maybe I'm not conveying myself well.
Because we won't have we won't have execution of that. Because we don't have.
So I think this will be easier with real code. So let's finish writing
this.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Because I think this isn't that far from done, right? It's like we got the this, and then we got the else, which is an array. And the array, I'm going to address these. And then this array is going to have a link. It's going to honor the indent. It's never going to be a link. That's what we were just talking about, right? It's just the title.
Yep.
And then it's a plus plus of the recursive call. Render dlist children page tree equals children, and indent equals indent.
It does not need to be a plus plus. You could just put it inside because we're going to deep flatten.
Okay. So something like that. That's what we're thinking of, and then why not actually use base name? Oh, we need to know our path to get here, don't we? So that's wrong, right? To do need path as well as base name. But let's just see this work. Next build manual. Oh, we got to handle DRV. Oh, I guess we can just use DRV. Why not? DRV we can't always assume exists. And then, but here I guess we can. Now that I understand the way you were planning to write this code, I also understand why you found this to be weird. Because I was planning to write this where we didn't assume certain types of nodes have some of these attributes, and you were. And so now that we're writing it this way, I agree.
I was looking at 2 types.
Yeah, and I was not thinking of it that way. So I understand your objection, and if we stick with this implementation, I'm down to change that now. But I kind of want to finish writing this, and then I want to show you the thing I had in my head.
Go ahead.
This is what, like DRV? No, shit. We're not using DRV here. This is base name. The DRV is going to get used down below when we build our like symlink farm.
Yeah.
Okay. So DRV just needs to get ignored, which we can do with this, which is maybe like 2 yuck. Okay. And now, what is it? lib.flatten? Is that the magic?
So.
Okay. I'm sure you're going to want this to be a pipe, which I'm fine with. Okay. The link item for nested chapters must only contain a hyperlink. Expected the start of a link, but actually got... Okay, so maybe it doesn't like that?
Yeah.
Like it has to be?
Has to be.
So let's just confirm that. Title.md, which is definitely wrong. I want to see the thing build. Okay. And there we go. Okay. So unfortunately, this seems like it has to be a link, huh? Which I suppose is fine. We can just provide a simple page.
How does NixVim do it?
Don't know. I will say I dislike that NixVim does that. Because I have always found that to be a weird UI quirk. Talking about this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Do not like that.
Can we see? Well.
All right. So we need to figure out what their summary.md looks like.
You know, this we don't have to do that. You see that how the summary of NixVim has like it says user guide between 1 and 2, and then it says functions between 5 and 6.
Yeah, that would be a nice way to do it. I agree.
Let's do that instead.
Okay.
Then it's kind of different. It's not a tree.
I know. So our implementation can get a lot simpler if we want.
I would totally go for that. I think for our case, it's fine. For more complex cases, it's you want the arbitrary nesting.
I want to see.
We don't need that.
Here it is. Summary.md. That's where the docs are. Title, prefix chapter. Part title. Level 1 headers can be used as a title for the following numbered chapters. That's what we're talking about, right? Part titles.
Yeah. It's called the part, right? Part, and parts don't change the numbering of chapters.
Right. Yep. Okay. So then
What else you got there? While we're at it.
numbered chapter, suffix chapter. That's like this contributors thing.
Mm-hmm.
Draft chapters.
Oh,
Separators.
that's what they do, right? Draft chapter.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
what.
that's probably
That's
how
what
they do
they
it.
are. Disabled links.
I don't like it though, so I'd be happy to not do it.
I don't think it's intended usage, like
Yeah.
draft chapter.
Draft certainly sounds like this is coming soon.
Mm-hmm.
So let's not do it. It's a weird UI user experience, so let's not repeat it.
Got
Next.
it. Well, first thing I'm going to do is change our data.
Yeah, so I want to talk about that. Like, how do we want to represent this now?
Just, there are two types. Like actually, we can't quite. I think now it's
Yeah, how do you want to do the ordering? Like,
the
we're kind
ordering.
of avoiding the ordering problem because we were imagining structure.
Well, the chapters they're still uh, they're still a map. You know, that's what they are. Maybe that's what we could do. But chapters also have order, right? So I think the top level is a list of chapters. And each chapter has
So is chapter the same thing as page?
no,
What's a chapter?
what we just read.
Oh, okay. That that heading one, which is multiple pages?
Yes.
Okay. I thought those were called parts.
Part. Empty book. How am I here? Part. Yes.
Yeah, I think they're using the word
Sorry.
chapter the way we're using the word page.
Well, then, yeah, let's use the word chapter.
I agree.
So where's our data? Let's make a new data. Data equals a list of parts. Title equals, well, we don't necessarily, the first part does not need to exist, right? So we could have a chapter here, right? This is a chapter.
Okay.
This will be
Sure.
no. This will be NixOS. Sorry. We have it. It doesn't. I don't know what's going on. Oh, expecting this to format away. Who am I kidding? And after this, we're going to have part, which is like title. Now, I think the right thing to do is to like do type chapter. Here, type part. title
Pardon me.
programs,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's good, right? And then children or chapters. I think it's in our case it's just chapters, right?
Okay.
And then when this is used, what is this? This is a chapter. This is a chapter. Right. Can we achieve this using using option merging? Can the order be deterministic? Like
Yeah, I don't.
the top level, we have 2 items, right? So that's just a list. No problem. If it was just as simple as that, right? But inside here, what's the option type for this? It's a list of
So my
either
experience with the
chapter
module
or
system
part.
up till now has been like order of things doesn't matter. And like I am aware that there's some Z indexing crap in the module system that I've been happy to not have to learn about. But I feel like we are going down a design path that is going to lead us to like Z indexing crap.
Yes.
And that's Mel's off to me. But like I think it's also just like
There's more than one way to do it. There's make order,
hmm,
in which every module needs to know of this global
yeah. Or you have like
order.
dependencies like after or before or something. You create like a DAG.
That is a different form of still global. Things know of each other.
Yep.
Or you could, in the manual module, you could know of all the other things and just set their order.
Yeah. I like that approach more, where it's sort of like I think going through having explored this design space with you just now, I
Mm-hmm.
like I see the value in just having a flat markdown file of this is the structure of the book. And it would be nice, and we can use Nix to help us get that right? Like to make sure that we don't reference things that don't exist, and the actual like content can be broken up. I'm not sharing my screen,
Mm-hmm.
am I? Okay. So given all that, I think a version of this that just references some stuff that's defined in a distributed way seems pretty reasonable to me.
So every page, every chapter will be explicitly mentioned in the manual module.
Mm-hmm.
That means that the option should not be a list. it should be
like an adder set where
an adder set.
these things have some unique ID, globally unique ID.
Yes. Each one declares itself.
Yeah.
Each program can declare its own chapter. And the manual says, I'm going to have a NixOS first as the first item, and then I'm going to have a section. It's called a part called programs, and in it I'm going to put this here API and that here fetcher.
Yeah. So like concretely, that would look something like. I mean, we can do the structured or not. Like one way of doing it, which would not bother me. I'm gonna guess you're not gonna like it. Would be something like literally just the markdown, right? And this would be like make chapter, and this would be like data dot nixos, or let's call this chapters dot nixos, and then it would be programs. Like I think that's a way we could do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that?
Well, look, this works to generate the summary, but we need a data structure that can generate both the summary and
the link farm. Yeah.
Oh, that's what you call link farm. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a collection of links, and looping over all the chapters should give us that information, right? They're all going to have a base name and a DRE,
well,
which is all you need.
Well, no, kind of, because
oh shit, sorry. Wait, can I fix this? This is wrong.
Fix
this. This is what we're talking about, right?
I'm sorry. Yeah, of course. With some blank lines as well.
Like that?
Yes. So I think to remind us that the chapter what's missing here is chapters.api is the file names. Make chapter needs to receive the file name.
Right.
Because the file name is not in chapters.api.
I am proposing that the file name is in chapters.api.
I think the file name is like a manual concern.
Are you okay with me deleting the code above and we can start fleshing out what chapters looks like? Okay. So this is going to look something like, I'll just change data to chapters here. Chapters, but this is going to become an adder set. And it's just a nice flat adder set. Get rid of that stuff. And then, oh, okay, this was, sorry. There we go. Semi API equals, and fetcher equals, something like that. Okay. What did I get wrong?
Ask your editor. It knows. Yeah.
Expected blah. Fix available.
I see a semi followed by a semi.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah. So this is what I'm proposing. The thing that looks redundant right now is Nixos, API, fetcher.
Yeah. But I think we should have this discussion in the also include what what is provided by each module.
What is provided by each module?
Is chapters just a merge of like NixOS is provided by the NixOS module? API is provided, or is this after some processing?
Excuse me. I think it would not be crazy for chapters to be the option that's defined in manual.nix as adders of some submodule type. I think that's how I'd be inclined to do it. So no
That sounds all right.
post-processing.
So that line 58 base name attribute of all of these, I think this should not be provided by each module. Maybe it should be provided like set by the decided by the manual module. It can be decided in the make chapter call, each make chapter call.
Like you want to say something
but
like
then
Nixos, like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you've got this problem of this also needs to understand that.
Correct.
And I don't see the value. Like, it seems reasonable to me for this to. The module system's great at this, right? You like define this as a submodule. You say this defaults to this key value. People never touch it unless they feel like there's some special reason to give it some weird name.
Okay, yeah, sure.
So then we can write make chapter. That's pretty easy, right? That takes a chapter and returns a is just a link, right? Guess we can unpack, right? Title, comma, base name. This is title and base name .md, something like that.
You need to either 3 ellipses there or in the pattern. The pattern is
Thank
incomplete.
You. Yeah, something like that.
Yes, but we're not making the chapter. We're making a
chapter link
list item. Let's make chapter link.
Works for me. And then we can write the link farm stuff, which is a map over all the values. And for each value, create a link that looks like this. We need this Mictor source. You want to change this to
How's the timer going?
Not going. Okay, I'll rotate. Take it away. Oh, great. Sorry. Yep, and because I didn't mob start, hold on. Git stash. Shoot. Git reset head tilde. Git stash mob start. Git stash pop mob next. Sorry about that. Go for it.
This is what you gave me.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. How many are there? 2. I'm going to take yours,
Okay.
which is stashed changes.
Okay.
Hold on. Wait. Not get confused here. This is it. Here. And this.
Love it.
Wait. Stash base. Okay, this is yours.
That's it. Sorry for the mess.
No worries. This loop here, something like chapters that we have, right? Map it through lib attr values.
Okay. Good luck. I don't know which one of those is right.
I think they're just both right.
Okay. And then for each one, map and produce a string. This is a chapter.
Matters. There's map adders to lists.
Okay. Great.
Adders to list.
This takes a key and a value or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
We are not interested in the
Key does not matter.
that's the name. And then there's
Chapter.
the chapter. And then we're supposed to do what's below, right?
Yep. ln-s chapter dot drv.
Hey, where is link from? Is that core utils?
Yeah. Chapter dot drv. Then source / chapter dot base name.
Well, it's NE.
Thank you. Yes.
And then
And now we've got a list of strings, which we want to concat lines on.
concat lines is fine. Yeah.
I think so.
Concat lines gives you a final line feed.
Okay.
So it guarantees
We want that.
it'll be a line. In here, it doesn't matter because it'll just, it'll just, you have
yeah,
a
it doesn't
line
matter. You're
feed
right.
here.
Yep.
But
Does not matter.
It'll end up a blank line. Chapters does not exist here.
Okay.
Chapters
Move
exist
it up.
here. I'm going to move the entire let. Don't know where yet. Options. Where are they? This was useful. We are in per system and we should be in per system. But there is a let in here. This is a let in. This is a let in. Options docs. This is a let in. This is the in. I'm going to take
Excuse me.
this and that.
Okay.
And copy it. Cut it, paste it over
Love it.
that. This is unused. Unused. I think we don't need these. This is unused.
Should be used down below. We deleted the symlink, I think, which we...
Oh, that's an explicit symlink.
Yeah. ln-s
Summary
summary md.
here. I was looking for like some lines that are just green, but the tooling is nice, too nice.
Green.
You know, I was looking, where is the script? But the tooling is too nice.
I see. Right. Beautiful.
That looks like it.
Love it, love it.
Well, we're going to have too many.
Does not matter.
Does not matter. Build. Manual. Cute. So this. Look at that.
Very
Okay.
nice. Very nice.
Fetcher. It works.
Love it. Okay.
Ooh.
The start 7. Okay. So now I think we're ready to define chapters as a option, a flake parts module option.
I would start with the. I would proceed with the usage.
We just wrote the usage.
The usage in each program module.
Oh, okay, sure. API.
Be right back.
Okie dokie. So we have to give this thing a name. We can. It's got to be per system, right? Because it's. Yep. Definitely needs to be per system, which is fine. Okay, great. This goes away. And we're going to say something like manual dot, well, I don't know, chapters. Call it chapters for now. Chapters dot API equals. This is going to be API equals. It's this thing. Goodbye. Chapters dot API equals paste. There we go. Love it, love it. Packages. Then we can go to fetcher default default.nix. We can also say chapters.fetcher equals this thing. Okay. And then we can say chapters equals. Actually, you know what? This is not how I want to do this. Oh well, I guess we've already gone down this path. To do remove. Then I'll do the same thing over here. To do remove. Okay. Great. And then there's one last chapter in the manual. Chapters.nixos. And I want to put this in. Well, that's funny because we actually have two different flake parts modules. One for API, one for fetcher. Interesting. We actually have these as separate things? I'm going to leave it here for now. Debate that in a minute. Okay, great. And now we change this to config.chapters, which does not exist yet. And then this entire thing becomes another adder set surrounding all of it. This is config equals, which should be a no-op change, options equals. This is chapters equals lib.make_option. We have this anywhere? Indeed we do. Make option type, yikes. That's a little much. Do we have submodule? Submodule. UI.next. Submodule with. No, that's not the one we want. Submodule. Too much. Types dot. There we go. All right, show me one of these. Types dot submodule. List of. Okay, sure. So we're going to do something like lib.make_option type equals type lib.types dot adders of. This is going to be lib.types.submodule. Okay. This is going to be options equals. Source and type. Okay, great. And our options are title equals lib.types.string or stir. One of these is deprecated and I never remember which. This is lib.make_option. Type equals. Okay. And then base name. Does this work? Can you say name like this? I think that works. Do that in a moment. Base name equals hello. All right. So I put chapters.fetcher right here in. This is modules fetcher default.next. And we can scope this however we like, but I opted to create a per system option called chapters. How's that sound?
Yes, that's right.
And ideally, we would not actually specify base name, but I was going to do things one bit at a time. But I will rotate over to you. Next.
Base name is the adder.
Yeah. I think this will be the final rotation for me.
So sad.
But we've at least decided what we want to do, even if we're not going to finish it.
So chapters will be config.
Yes.
PS args. Config. Where's this?
the per system's very high up.
Okay. What else needs to happen here? Yes, args. I know.
Yep. And then if you look at the chapters option that I was in the middle of writing on line 64. So we've got title equals string, base name equals, and ideally that would default to the key of the
Lazy. I don't really know the difference. Lazy, but
I don't
everyone
either.
seems to use lazy, so I do that.
Yeah, I've specifically not been using it until with the hope that I will eventually learn what the deal is. But whatever. So when you do a lib.type submodule, there's some way to turn this into a function so that you have access to the key, right?
Because it wait, which key?
The lazy adders of
Submodule.
is a
Have
attribute set.
access to the key here?
Yeah, there's a way to define a function. I just don't know where
Of
the
course, I
lambda
mean, because
goes.
it's just a module. This is no way. This is a module. So a module can be function.
Okay.
What's the wrong thing?
And this can take the name. Is that right?
I don't know about that actually. I've never seen that.
I have seen it.
I've never.
So we can look for it. I know one place it shows up is the sync
What do you
thing,
need the key for?
so that we can give a default value for base name.
But we don't need it. We just don't need it, do we?
The way we've written the code that consumes this
Ah,
assumes that base name is
I
set.
see what you see. Because we can pass the thing and not the whole thing. Pass the attribute value and not the whole
That's how
thing
we wrote the
somewhere
code.
into like make chapter.
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So, do you remember an example where that's the case? Maybe
sync
like
thing in.
okay.
Yeah. There's like these
All
folders
right.
that have names. So
I got you. I'll go there. Please.
and just something becomes a lambda where you wouldn't have realized you could put a lambda there.
packages. Same thing. NixOS modules.
Services, same thing, yeah. And then try something like name colon. I don't know how much of that there's going to be.
Equals.
Bummer. Search for sub or adders of maybe.
Module.
There. Oh, hey, there it is. Line 326. So it's actually what you just wrote.
Name is not used.
Maybe I'm
What
wrong
do you have
about
to say
this.
about that?
Are there other submodules where the thing's actually used? Was that the only submodule in that file?
Sorry, I thought you meant in the context. Oh, here.
Yeah,
There.
that's what I'm talking about. And is this an adders of? It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe this needs to be another. Cannot be lazy because this is needed.
Oh yeah, maybe.
I don't need this anymore. I know what we're doing. We're doing this, and let's try lazy and see whether we get like
some weird error.
Recursion.
Sure. So now we can say base name default equals
name.
Oh, is it string or stir? Which one's deprecated? I can never remember.
Strings deprecated.
Okay, can you fix that? Thank you. Okay. And then DRV is what, like type stuff package or something?
Yes. types.
Okay. Title, base name, DRV. I think that's the ticket.
What else
Scroll down a
did
bit.
you?
Okay. So this I wasn't sure where to put, but I was hoping we could leave it here for now and then move it.
In NixOS.
Well, but there's two.
The NixOS module provides its own.
Aren't there two? Isn't there an
Right?
API and a fetcher?
Then we need two chapters.
Well, that's the conversation to have. Debate where to put this. Should it really be one chapter or two?
Huh. Okay.
So I was thinking we could leave it there for now to get things working.
Base name is not needed. And I don't know where. So Nix, let's just try to build it.
Yeah. There should have been two base names to remove.
Right. 3.
Okay.
Fetch, fetcher, called base name. God, called base name.
Wonderful.
And it still builds.
That was an astonishing amount of code to write with having it still built at the end. Way to go, us.
Well done.
Cool. Bad ass. Okay. So yeah, I think there's two things left to do. One is debate how to handle API and fetcher. I would propose leaving it in this file. It's already in this file. We could split it out as a subsequent PR. And then that way we don't change the behavior of this page in this PR either. But what do you think?
I don't want to hold you. If you need to go, tell me what's going on.
Oh yeah, I should stop. I just want to know where I like knowing what we're working on next so I can think about it when I go to sleep. That's all.
Like this file is currently in main called NixOS manual.
Right.
And then it kind of made sense that it carried the logic of producing a manual for the NixOS options, all the NixOS options.
Mm-hmm.
But we actually have modules for each. For one for fetcher and one for API, and that makes sense. And I think I don't how does it work? Manual is like make options something render options. We have the filter options. That's how we what we do is we filter by the declarations coming from this flake.
Mm-hmm.
That's we could, and then this call is quite small other than this strain. It's actually all of this. Not as like concise as we would like it to be, is it? But so this where did the options themselves can be in each module, and all of this can remain here, right?
Yeah, or we can, I sort of like the idea of this manual.nix just being a flake parts abstraction on top of MD book. So pulling this logic out of this file feels appropriate to me long term. And like extracting the like how to generate docs for NixOS options, like that can go in a helper function that is used in two places.
I'm not inclined to begin this conversation with no time.
Okay. All right. We will debate. And then the other thing we need to do, well, okay, I'm not going to remember any of this. I think the problem is we don't have a failing test, so it's going to be hard to remember where to pick things up. So is there something we can do, a comment or an assertion, a throw, to kind of steer us in the right direction for next time?
Well, if we build the manual and take a look at it, we will see that this is nonsense.
What's nonsense?
This.
Okay.
And that.
All right. Sounds good.
We can take a look at the progress, but I think a to-do is good. You have to do consider extracting this. Maybe not in the same commit. I don't know. Some of this.
I mean, don't we already have that to do? Isn't that the to do where we have just further down in the file?
Doesn't matter. And this is fake.
Sure.
API default. This is also fake.
All right. Awesome. Cool. Good stuff.
Yes. Thank you for the special, if only by number, episode 50.
Big number.
Of the Molybdenum Software Show. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment. And consider joining us if this looks like fun. Till next time, be well.
Bye.